Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, and DJNTV Insiders.
Fire away, man.
Well, let's start with one that you probably know more about than I do, because I read the article, but I really thought that I didn't see the tie-in necessarily. And by the way, guys, what we're doing here is we are going to round robin like about 4 or 5 topics that we saw, and then we're going to get to what it really is, the main topic, which our main topic tonight, might as well just mention it. We're about, 6 months from Christmas. So we thought we would talk about how to start marketing for your holiday parties. So that was the big topic. And then for some of you that are in the hotter markets, if you're in Arizona or if you're in Florida, you know, the summer for us is all kind of dead for those of us like that in those markets. And so I thought it might be good to talk through some of the things we're doing in the summer to improve our businesses when it's hot. And so those are the 2 main topics. But let's get to the other ones first and knock some of these out, because these are some interesting ones that are just happening in our industry. So the first one was a news article that came out that you saw, Casey, about a DJ who was, I guess, murdered somebody, not at a gig, but or an event, but she was a school teacher, and apparently he was found out like a couple of years later, like they had this under wraps. Tell the story.
You know what? I don't know all of the stories, and it's funny because certain things I choose to get involved with, certain things I just kind of stay away from, and it seemed like people were stretching pretty hard to try to make something out of nothing, in my opinion, and so I just kind of chose to stay away from that one. And so, which is, I know it's odd for me, considering it seems like I'm the one that everyone says is the pot stirrer, but I don't know exactly, what there is to say. So it's a tragedy when somebody takes another person's life. And the thing that was a little bit eerie, though, is I know that in speaking with Brandon Lindsay, who is an state of Ohio based DJ, said that he had actually bought some gear from this guy, and they met at like a diner somewhere and even had lunch and a piece of pie. And I think he was just kind of creeped out by the whole thing to realize that he had actually met this guy. So, which is pretty odd.
Have you ever had an issue where any of your employees have been arrested and couldn't do an event, or like something? I mean, maybe not of this magnitude, clearly, but
no. But it's funny you bring that up, because in all of the years that I've been in business, we only missed one event. I started DJing in 1988. I started my first company in 1990. So what is that? 28 years later, something like that. We had a situation where one of our DJs, and this was back in the beeper days, where things weren't as easy people weren't as easy to get in touch with. We had a DJ who had gotten into a disagreement with his wife, who we later divorced. However, they got into it. He got pissed. He didn't know that she was at the bottom of the stairs going into the basement, and he just got aggravated, and he threw a hamper down the stairs, didn't realize she was coming up the stairs, so she thought that he had thrown it at her, which sincerely was not the case. She called the police, and as he was literally pulling out of the driveway with all of the gear in his van, they told him to turn the keys off. They took him to jail. The only saving grace was it was one of those little tiny, like 40-person holiday parties in the back room of a restaurant. So while it was unfortunate and tragic that we didn't make it there, we didn't ruin anyone's wedding day. We didn't ruin anything. And we did their holiday party the following year for free. We had done their company picnic that same year for free. And this DJ, who doesn't work with me anymore, but worked for me for years after, he made right by it. I mean, he said, I'll do the parties for free. He goes, it was my mistake. He apologized up, down, and sideways. He talked to the president of the company and explained the whole situation. And, you know, we got lucky. We got very, very lucky that it was that type of an event and not a once-in-a-lifetime moment. So,
yeah. We so I'm not gonna get too much into it, but I've had 2 employees who no longer are with us, but that were incarcerated at one point during employment. And luckily, I mean, there was no red flags at the time, and then something happened, and it was like out of left field both times, and so now we vet that pretty seriously because I mean, luckily it didn't hurt us. We were able to cover all the events and
good,
but still, I mean, it was just something that you just don't, when you don't expect it, it just is another reminder that you never know what's going on in someone's life.
Right.
Sometimes it was a reminder to me to always be checking in with our people and just sometimes we just make it transactional. So it's always good to kind of get to know your people really well as best you can, especially if you're a small business. There's no reason not to.
Sure. That's where I meet most of my employees is when I'm in jail.
Are you? Okay.
So, now here, I'll throw one out there for the kids. Have you ever been arrested for anything?
No, I can't say.
I've been arrested twice, 2 times.
Okay.
So once it was an outstanding warrant for my arrest that was a total paperwork clerical error from when I went through my divorce.
Okay.
So, and the worst part was I got stopped by a local municipality. They couldn't sort it out. It had to do with a payment that had been paid and done with my ex-wife. It just never cleared the court system. So I'd been driving around for years with a warrant out for my arrest. I could have been pinched at any time. And it was really weird. I was at a stoplight, literally got lit up after I just dropped my nephew off when he was really little. And I even had fraternity brothers that worked in this police department. So I, of course, did the name dropping, and it totally relaxed the thing. And then, I said, he goes, do you know you have a warrant out? I go, that's got to be like, for what? And they're like, oh, it won't show. And I said, okay. And then one thing led to another. The municipality had to take me in overnight. Then I had to be transferred to the county courthouse where I was, my marriage license was, which was a hall. And the worst part of the whole thing, the jail cell was not very fun. I got McDonald's in the morning. The cops were totally cool to me because, again, I had dropped like 2 different fraternity brothers' names, so they couldn't have been nicer to me. But when the captain came down, he goes, I know you're friends with John. He goes, I've got good news for you and I've got bad news for you. And I said, what's that? He goes, the good news is, he goes, we're going to get you up to McHenry. You'll get in front of the judge right away. Bam, done. I said, okay. I go, so what's the bad news? He holds out the shackles, and I had to do the whole perp walk minus the orange jumpsuit. And I'll tell you, I don't care what action hero's in it, The Rock, Jean-Claude Van Damme, you can't fart with those things on, man. I'm telling you, terrible. And then the second time, I had gotten one of those random insurance like send in proof of insurance that was just totally 100% randomly sent. I never check my mail ever because I didn't send in a copy of my insurance to the state of Illinois. My driver's license had been suspended. Didn't know it. And sure enough, got pulled over for, I think, texting or I don't know. This was years ago. And he popped me and I had to go in the back of the squad car. That wasn't really being arrested. And in fact, he didn't even put the cuffs on me because he goes, you're being totally cool. And ironically, the photography studio that I own had done his wedding. So as a result, because he's like, what do you do? Like, and I'm like, oh, I'm just on my way to work. Where do you work? I told him. He's like, oh. He goes, you work there? I go, well, I own the place. And he goes, yeah. He goes, you guys did my wedding. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. I'm like,
free prints?
No, it was years and years and years ago, but you know what? He literally he even called for an SUV so I'd be more comfortable. And so being a big guy, like, never put the cuffs on me, said, I got to take you in. He wrote me like an ROI type of a thing. And then I straightened out the insurance, went before the judge, dismissed, done, gone. But so those are my 2 times that I've been in the back of squad cars.
Wow.
So,
wow.
I shouldn't say the back. I've been in the back of squad cars. College was a pretty wild time, but never actually was arrested.
Jeez.
So yeah, I had a altercation outside of a bar one night, and it was good because I was underage. I had just gotten done disc jockeying at a frat party, headed over there, and then I went over to this bar to meet up with all my fraternity brothers. Fortunately, didn't have one cocktail the entire time. An ex-girlfriend's big football player boyfriend decided that he was going to defend her honor for something that he thought I had done her wrong on. And yeah, I wound up kicking him in the face. So it was a problem because all the police saw was like this guy's face busted wide open, and me. And I had gone. There was a hot dog hamburger place down next door, and like the police came. His face is busted open. I'm eating a hot dog next door, and I got thrown in the back of a squad car for that one too. And everybody testified, and I said, I'll do a breathalyzer test right now. I haven't had an ounce to drink. This guy's wasted. So do what you got to do. I totally get it. And so he's like, okay.
Jeez.
That was that.
Jeez.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is don't interrupt me eating a hot dog. That's what it comes down to.
There you go. Well, in other DJ-related news, I don't know if you saw, but there's actually been a lawsuit, another Marvin Gaye family lawsuit that's in the works.
I saw. There's, they allege that every single solitary song that's out on the top 40 charts now is tied into Marvin Gaye at one point in time.
Right. Yeah.
Because didn't Robin Thicke got nailed for that too, didn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, that one was at least you could kind of see how that one would be a potential infringement. But this one, they're saying that the song, what is it? I'm drawing a blank on the name of it, but
Ed Sheeran.
Thinking Out Loud.
Yeah. Correct.
And Let's Get It On are similar. I mean, I would have never mixed those 2 records together anyways. I mean, the tempos are so different and the vibe of them are so different, but I don't even know how you get close to a comparison on those. I was searching on YouTube to see if anybody had done any kind of because they did
a mashup.
Yeah, because some of them had done that when the Blurred Lines suit came out. You could kind of tell.
Okay.
Like, oh, that's pretty darn close. But no one's done it as of yet. I mean, the suit just dropped today. But
okay.
What do you think? You think you have any thoughts as to if they'll win this one? I mean, they got one under their belt, so maybe it's a little easier for them the second time around. Or are they getting greedy?
I don't know. You know what? I'm not a legal expert, so I couldn't tell you. I mean, I'll be surprised. And did you ever hear the story on the subject of Ed Sheeran? Did you ever hear how he slept on Jamie Foxx's couch for like a month?
No.
So Ed Sheeran went to LA like a lot of people with the dream, and proceeded to go out there with no money, broke. A shoestring budget came down from Canada, I believe. Did what he had to do, but it got to a point where he had run out of money, was living in his car. Somehow he was doing like an open mic night, and Jamie Foxx absolutely thought the guy was amazing. I mean, just was blown away by the guy. Got introduced and said, oh, you should come into my studio. I've got a whole studio in my house, and I'd love to record. He's like, hell yeah. And so it was absolutely. And what happened was, I guess, like, they worked late into the night, and one thing led to another, and I guess he looked at Ed Sheeran, and Ed Sheeran looked at him, and he said, you don't have any place to go, do you? He's like, can I just use your shower, and I'll sleep in my car? And Jamie Foxx was like, nah, it's cool. You can stay here. I'm thinking to myself, I don't know you, and I got a really nice house with a recording studio. I think I would let him use the shower, and had breakfast for him in the morning.
Wow.
So I don't know how long they had known each other or talked, but yeah, that was like, wow. But I guess he stayed for like a month or something like that, recording his album and becoming friends with him. He's told that story repeatedly on late night talk shows. So Jamie Foxx says. So if I didn't tell it quite right, you can search for it and they'll give you the whole scoop.
Yeah. Well, then I also read another article today about the electric slide, the infamous electric slide.
Right.
And apparently there's some sexual innuendos there.
I know.
From what I read.
I can't look at anybody's mom doing the electric slide anymore without totally laughing at them.
Exactly. So, the writer of the song came out and said that basically it's about a vibrator, essentially.
Right.
Well,
even Trace Adkins' song, Honky Tonk Badonkadonk, that song was totally changed by the director of the music video. So it really wasn't about a beautiful woman's derriere.
Okay.
It was actually geared toward a big fatty in a club and everybody staring at that badonkadonk. So, because I saw him interviewed once and he's like, yeah, it's not what it's about.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
I mean, that song has been around since the 70s, and I would never have known that. So I wonder if that will end up in Mike Walters' book, or if it will have an addendum.
And Mike was tuning in on Facebook, so yeah, you just gave him some inspiration to check it out. I saw him on there.
Maybe this might be part 2. He could start part 2 off with this one. I wonder if
Mike Walters still on. He said Sheeran told that story on Stern. And then he wrote If Only Steely Dan had written it. So now it's a big thank you to Mike, and I called him today. If you didn't tune in, you were on his podcast today. For those of you watching, I would strongly recommend that you at least catch part 1.
Sick as a dog.
Brian was so riveting on there that there's a part 2 that'll be out next week. So when you guys are out of fireworks on the 5th, you'll be able to tune in and check it out and eating your leftover cold hamburgers from your barbecue.
Yeah.
But there's that. Oh, Mike Walters said it hasn't gone to print yet, so there's still a chance. You got to somehow, Mike, I don't know, mention Brian in the credits or in your opening forward or your thank yous.
Oh, geez. Maybe that'll be the
important page of the book.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. I'm
sorry. I guess I'm not letting you talk enough, Brian, so I'll just shut up.
That's funny. So now those were the only things I found on the I don't know, miscellaneous category of DJ news this week. But our main topic tonight, which I thought was appropriate because this is when we start doing it. I don't know about you guys, but I was just looking it up. We are now 180 days until Christmas, which means it's less than a half a year away. So we're closer to Christmas than we are away from it at this point. And we have always kind of used the summer to kind of start targeting some of our corporate clients.
Sure.
Deals and ways to kind of rope them in at this point of the year and incentivize them to book us. And for us, it's great because it's good deposit money to come in and guaranteed bookings down the road. Have you utilized the summer as kind of your starting point to kind of target these people, or do you wait closer to the fall?
My first ones, quite honestly, is the week after. So the minute a holiday party's is done, I turn around, I call the HR person, whomever hired us, make sure that everything was okay, asked if they know if they already have their plans for next year, and if they already have their venue, I offer to lock them in at the same rate at that exact moment. And taking a deposit at the end of December, beginning of January, to me is always a great plus. It's locked up, you know that it's done, and so that's where I do it. I do that with school proms. I do that with a lot of residual business. But you know what? We probably hit it closer to like August. We've never come this early, but I don't see any reason not to be honest with you.
Yeah, we haven't been able to. I don't know if it's just maybe a different market as far as at least in our Florida market, I should say, that they don't pick the dates like the very next day for the following year. Like and so they want to wait until the next year to start talking about it. So for us, we don't get that kind of a clientele that every year it's going to be the third Saturday of December or whatever the case may be.
Sure.
So it's never worked for us. We've tried a few different times. Now, school dances, that's a different story. They have to have their calendar out, like, you know, 3 years out. So we do get that there. So when you, for your side of things, when you do it the week after, are you giving them any kind of return deal, same as last year? Do you?
We'll just hold the same price, yeah. So that's pretty much what we do.
Do you have clients who've been with you for what, 5, 6 years, and you?
Oh, absolutely. So, and the thing about it is I push that really hard. And the reason for it is people leave their jobs, they get put into different positions. Somebody comes into the company that's best friends with DJ. I mean,
good point.
It's the same reason that we lose them. Sometimes are the same reasons that we gain them, because somebody, you know, just started a job at Acme Widget Motor Company or whatever, and they can get you in the door there now. So I don't, you know, I know a lot of DJs get upset. I just take it as it's seasons of life, you know. So you win some, you lose some. You just have to keep giving them great service and hope they come back.
And do you have anybody who asks for anything a little bit differently, like the latest and greatest of things after the fact, after you've already booked them? So let's say that you booked them for your holiday party the week after you had their event to at least lock in the DJ services. Are you then trying to upsell them later on other things that have come in?
Sure. What do you call it? We'll let them know all of our new toys and whatever we've got available. You know, holiday parties don't, to be honest with you, like I don't care for holiday parties as a rule. If I never DJ'd one again, I'd be okay with that.
Why is that?
You know what? To me, it's just such a cold, unnatural atmosphere. You know, you've got.
I'm totally the opposite. I'm totally the opposite. I'd rather a corporate party any day over a wedding.
A corporate party is different than a holiday party.
That's true. I guess so.
Holiday parties is like everybody that you work with that you like and you don't like, and then your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend go with you. And then, so 50% of the room is already an other. I personally would much rather see an employee-only party, because at least then they can let a little bit loose amongst themselves. But I've been that date where, like, it's just painful to sit through, and then again, it's just not for me. You can't get totally loaded at it because you got an image to portray, and you know, and kind of go from there. Although that'd be a great place to break up with your girlfriend and just get hammered.
Yeah.
Be like, just to let you know, we're done. And sir, I know you're her boss. She can't stand your ass. I mean, seriously. And by the way, she's got a closet full of office supplies. She's got more notepads than anyone should ever own, ever. Right. Have a good day. Can I get one of those little mugs with your company name on it? That would be awesome.
I never have been on that side of it where I worked for a company where I had to bring a date. I've always, been the entertainer. I've never had to, I have attended a holiday party of my wife's, but I've never had to worry about, what are my friends going to say if I brought my girlfriend along or my wife with me or whatever, back in the day. So I never had to deal with that situation of like the uncomfortability factor. As far as that stuff.
Okay, but you've obviously gone to a wedding before with like one of your wife's coworkers. You don't know anybody, except for maybe the coworker getting married and like one other person. Right. Yeah. So I mean, I've done that, but at least people are in a good mood. They're like ready to let loose. They can't get fired from their family. I mean, let's be honest. So,
so that's true. All. I think that people. Yeah, for me, the reason why I think I like the holiday parties so much more are three reasons, really. One, everybody seems to be in a pretty darn good mood most of the time because, hey, we're getting ready. We're getting close to the holidays. We're getting ready for vacation, whatever. Second is that for me as a DJ, it's less formalities. I don't have to worry about like the pressure. It doesn't matter how many weddings I've done. There's always still a little bit of pressure of making sure I nail that grand entrance or whatever. This, I feel like the pressure is way less. Like there's still formalities that need to occur. There's still things that you need to hit, but I just feel like that pressure is a lot less on me than if I was at a wedding. And then third, I love the fact that all I got to do is play great dance music. If I play great dance music and do a couple games if needed, like that's a successful party, and it's going to be better than some of the parties that they've been to in the past. Because most of the parties that a lot of our holiday parties have gotten over the years have been like just holiday music for dinner. People bounce because everybody's uncomfortable. They don't want to dance, and it's just a lame party. So we
just got done telling you that exact same thing, and you're like, "Oh, I love those parties."
No, because of the fact that I get to change the perception of the party.
Oh,
that's why I like to do that. So they go, "Dang, we want that guy back because he just killed it. He just made it like a party that we won't forget." So, or that's my goal every time.
Okay.
So, anyway,
that's good.
Have you seen any parties or done any parties like that, holiday parties that have just like where you've blown expectations out of the water, or you've been to one where it was just like epic?
Let's see. We did Searle Pharmaceuticals for years, and it was a great party, and it was like a cocktail party. It was literally from like 4 o'clock until like 7. They came directly from work. They got cut loose a little bit. There were like 400 employees there. And it was honestly like DJing a senior prom. The only thing I couldn't stand, which I'm sure we've all had, every single woman that came up to me said, you know our president, Brian Bonacisi, right? I go, yeah. I'm his assistant. I said, okay. Can you please play this song next? I said, well, I can't get it next, but I'll get it on shortly, I promise. Okay. Another random woman. Do you know our president, Brian Bonacisi? I'm his personal assistant. So either these women were all full of it, or he has a harem of personal assistants, because I wanted to be like 30 women claiming to be his assistant.
Wow.
So, and it was funny because I walked up to him. I go, how many personal assistants do you have? He goes, I don't have any. I'm like, seriously? And he's like, no. I go, he goes, why? I go, what do you call it? I go, everyone's claiming to be it so that they can get their song on. He goes, well, are you playing them? I'm like, yeah, I'm playing everything. Everyone's having a good time. He goes, okay. He goes, here's the deal. He goes, this is my extension at work. And he goes, anybody asks you for that again? He goes, ask them what my extension is, because I guarantee you no one will know. And if a personal assistant doesn't know their boss's extension, that's that. And so the rest of the night, he just let me have fun with all of these silly drunk women. It was hilarious. It was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, he totally. You could tell like when he was keeping an eye out, and you could tell when someone was like he knew someone was going to be like, oh. So,
yeah, totally.
So that was that.
So when you go in August to kind of target these, do you do anything to kind of woo them as far as maybe dropping off like holiday cookies, or do you do anything like that? Is there any kind of tricks?
No, it's usually just a hi, hello.
So you do drive-bys, or you drop by?
No, not in corporate. You know what? Going way, way, way back to like I'm talking like 1991. There was an area in Chicago called Elk Grove where it's a lot of these little 10,000 square foot buildings, and sadly shows you how bad I was at marketing back in the day. My brother and I would drive around, and if the building looked big enough, we figured they had to have a lot of employees. And he would drive, and I would jump out of the car, run in with a terrible Kinko's made flyer and a business card, hand it to the receptionist, and say, if you're looking for a great DJ for your holiday party, hire me. We must have spent like 4 days doing that. I don't think I got one phone call at all. I mean, it was terrible.
Oh, man. Okay.
But then I also do remember back in the day, there'd be a point in time where like in the late 90s, maybe mid to late 90s, and John Murphy brought this up, I literally worked from like the day after Thanksgiving all the way through to like December 23rd. I personally was booked every day doing something. And some of them were like the hotel holiday party where they were asking you for a favor and paying you in hotel overroom nights, that you very rarely would ever use. But, it was what it was. So, it was more about just helping them out do their thing. So,
right. Interesting. So back in the day when I was doing all of the sales myself, I would put the elf costume on in the middle of August in Florida and literally come up to all these companies and drop off like a stocking full of candy and stuff like that. And I can't say it ever made the phones ring off the hook, but I did get a lot of pictures and and made a story of it. So
now, will you be wearing that at your seminar about going luxury, dealing with a luxury client at Marquee on stage?
Hey, you got to do what you got to do to close those deals. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Yeah. So anyway, that was one little thing that we did back in the day. And then lately we've been really targeting these hotel halls and things like that with trying to give one party away a month for the whole summer. So we'll say, hey, listen, if you want to enter into our holiday party giveaway, we'll put you in there. And so we give away basically 4 parties.
Okay.
We'll do it June, July, August, actually in September too. So the first 4 months leading up to the fall. And that's always worked really well for us because people love to get stuff for free, especially the halls. And if it's one that is doing a lot of business with you, that can always lend to more business because you just gifted them a holiday party.
Sure.
So,
do you follow Eric Wedding on Facebook?
I don't know if I do or not.
He's speaking, and he's a big ClickFunnels marketing guy. And I just actually he just did a whole thing on, he's trying to pick up last-minute golf outings. And so he has a whole video that he does where he's promoting himself as, let me help you with your golf outing. And he has a click here to download your guide to amazing, successful golf outings. And so what he's doing is he's hoping that the right qualified people will click. And I would think that, unless you're morbidly curious, why would you click unless you're actually in charge of a golf outing?
Right.
Now, who he's targeting it to, I don't know. But I was intrigued. And I started thinking, you could possibly do this for holiday parties, that if it was, are you tired of the same old boring holiday party? Download the B-Boys guide to amazing holiday parties that get everybody up and dancing or whatever.
Right.
And if it's going to be your lead generation, then so be it.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's part of technology. No more elf suit needed. Oh, no. But you could wear it in the video. There we go.
Solid idea.
In fact, here's the deal. Everybody watching this, if you want to see Brian and our next show wearing an elf video or wearing an elf costume, make sure that you comment all over the Disc Jockey News page. Just say, I want to see Brian in an elf costume. And if I guess, how many would we have to get? How many people until you would actually do it? If we got 50 people to comment.
I'm going to go higher. If we got a hundo.
100 people. Okay. So go to this broadcast, everybody. Get your friends. Start getting on Messenger now. 100 people, and we've got Brian, and that's totally made my year. Sky Carroll on the Zoom thing just said, watch out.
There you go. Oh, my gosh. There you go.
Like you said, you got to do what you got to do.
Hey. Imagine how many tickets we could have sold for Marquee if we had some kind of promotion like this. I think we got next year's promotion figured out, something like this along these lines.
Got it. Well, on that subject, the good folks over at Mitsubishi, I was giving away a printer. So I don't know if you got that email today, but they're giving away a printer. And then the fine folks at Imaging Spectrum that also own Darkroom, they're giving away a Darkroom software kit too. So
nice.
So there's that. And then I know that Nick Hahn, our good friend over at Promo Only, asked me about our attendance numbers so that he knew the appropriate amount of T-shirts to have shipped down to me. So I would say that we're going to be looking at some of those as well. So there'll be some cool swag there if you're an attendee. And that's it. So we've already got 3 people, it looks like, on Facebook that have. Jody, of course, is chanting elf, elf, elf.
There we go. Hey, it's one comment equals 1. Can't say elf 3 times. That doesn't count. So you got to get it.
No, I get it. So,
Well, cool. Well, I think we covered that topic pretty well as far as holiday parties. If you got ideas that are working for you and for your company, man, we'd love to help others out as well. So share your ideas or things that seem to have worked for you, and we'll make sure to get the word out as well.
Sure.
So the next topic I had on here was just, in the summer for us in Florida, especially that market, we are, it's just too hot to do anything. So people aren't doing weddings, especially July, August. And I know that's the case in the West Coast too, and certain markets like Arizona and Vegas and things. So we use that opportunity as a recruitment time for us and training. And we got on a thread in a private Facebook group with some DJ owners about what kind of interview questions that you use. And actually, it spurred me to write an article in the Disc Jockey News that's coming out here in the next issue about that.
Okay.
And, I just was curious, like with you, what are some things, like what's your hiring protocol? Are you looking for, and I mean across the board, not necessarily just entertainers, but could be salespeople or whatever. Do you have like a common thread that you're looking for? Are there certain traits? Do you put people through the same process? How do you keep the culture good in your company?
Such a large portion of our businesses or our people are referred in by other people that it works really well. When I was first building my companies, especially when I owned the other DJ company, we used to do all kinds of incentivizing. We had bonuses that if you brought somebody into the company and they lasted 5 months, you got a bonus. If they lasted a year, they got a bonus. If we felt they were a good team player and you weren't just bringing in a warm body, but you were bringing in somebody you thought was really going to be great, they got a bonus. And then it's funny you bring this up because I just had one of my former employees from the other company pop in the other day, and he's working in the area now. And he actually, after not having DJ'd for a long time, said that he's getting married in September and he's looking to make, he said he misses DJing. He wants to make a little bit of money. He just wants to work like once a month. And would I ever have, work for him? And I said to him, like, if you're willing to take last minute work, like the last minute birthday party type stuff, I said, I always get calls for that. He's like, that's exactly what I want. He goes, I know it sounds snobby. I don't want to be tied down to a wedding a year in advance. But he goes, if I can help fill in or whatever, he goes, I'm totally down. But here was the nice part. He started with me when he was 16.
Wow.
And we used to have, very similarly based on Mike Walter's training program, we had a full training program. And one of the training programs was on table etiquette. And he brought it up to me the other day. He goes, when I first, it's so funny. He goes, he's in the audiovisual business. He goes, I eat with people that you swear to God they would put a sandwich in their feet if they could. And he said, and I just find it funny. He goes, because I still remember being a teenager and you teaching us like what each fork service was and what everything meant. And I said, well, I didn't want you to look stupid sitting with, other guests that were older that knew. And he said, no, he goes, I can't tell you every time I go out to dinner and it's like a full dinner service. He goes, I think about you every single time.
Wow.
And so, it's funny that you brought up the whole training and stuff because, like I said, we used to do that rigorously. And we used to, back in the days of CDs, and we had our own organized music library, we used to have everybody literally log every song. The DJ assistant in training had to log every single song, and the idea behind it was they say that you only remember 10% of what you see and hear, but you retain 80% of what you read and write.
Right.
And if you think about being in high school, when you would make a cheat sheet,
right,
by the time you went to go need it, you were like, I know all this stuff now. And it's kind of the same thing. So we would have these books, and that way when the guys started to be ready to go out on their own, if they had a mental breakdown, they could flip through and go, oh, these went together. Oh, I worked with Tom and these went good. I worked with Brian and these went together.
Right.
So they had that for reference, but more of it was about memorization of what went well and in the CD collections where they were located so you could find them quickly.
Right. No, similarly, not to get on that tangent, but definitely same thing. I mean, I used to write down. I had journals full of playlists when I first started, just to help me, and I would see, similarities in certain songs that were played all the time that seemed to work with every party, and those were like gold when I first started out. So that was, but nowadays it's funny because now people are like, well, just export your Serato history, your last playlist, just send me that. And I'm like, no, write the stuff down, because that's the way you're going to remember. Like you said, seeing it is one thing and you'll remember it maybe, but if you're writing it down, like just writing that stuff down makes a huge difference. At the club, I used to have the managers used to make us write down our lists of what we were playing.
Okay.
And, half the time I wouldn't even do it correctly. I would just, fudge the stuff as I was writing it of what I played. Right. But they would check it, and they used to come by early on. They would come by literally every hour picking up a playlist from you that you had to have already filled out. So it wasn't even done at the end of the night. It was done hourly. So you had to be.
Now, do you think that's over controlling, or do you think that's good management?
It depends on, the experience level of the DJ. I think at the time for me, it was probably a good thing to do for them to make sure that there's consistency. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, the guys who are, not the owners that aren't there Monday. We were at a beach club that was basically Monday through Saturday. So, the club owner wasn't going to come in on a Tuesday night, so he just wants to make sure that there's consistency throughout the whole week so that the format isn't changing, because format's everything. If the format's off, you can attract the wrong crowd very, very quickly.
Sure.
It's important to have that format right. But back to the hiring situation, I know for us, we spend a lot of time on that front end on making sure we're evaluating candidates and trying to find cultural fit. That's just been a big part of our success, I think, in finding people that, if they don't have the skill set, those things are teachable. If they don't have the look, that's, I guess, fixable in some cases, but for cultural fit, if they don't have that, it can be like a virus to your company. We found that stuff spreads really quickly and can be sometimes irreparable. I mean, you may not be able to get it back to where it once was. If morale was really high at one point, and it starts to go sour, it can be bad. So we spend a lot of time on that on our end. We typically have at least 2, sometimes 3 interviews before we'll have somebody on the team, and we do that purposefully because we want a different perspective from a different interviewer than just one person. So what I was saying in our Facebook group was that it's always good to kind of identify what are your non-negotiables or your values that you, as a company, that you live by, and you make sure that you live and breathe them, and then try to ask questions along those lines of drilling down on some of those traits, and ask it multiple times in different ways as well to see if you can get people to. You almost want to interview them to not get the job, because then you're finding out the people that really are good.
Now, do you have the hard and fast rule? Like, do you make certain, I don't want to say niche app, but first impression judgments? So if they're not dressed well, if they're a little bit late, if they're early, are you impressed? If they give you a resume, are you impressed?
Yeah, I mean, we start the process before the interview even starts. So we will ask a couple questions on an email and just see how they reply. Are they quick on the reply? Are they using quick texting techniques on their emails? Because writing and communicating is super important to what we're doing. And so we can't, take them back to educational, vocational school on that kind of stuff and show them how to the writing techniques. They hopefully are bringing that to the table. So if they're not good at that kind of stuff, that's probably not a good fit right away. And we do that also just to see if they're listening. So we'll ask some question that would be kind of random that they would have to actually have read and follow directions. So we can weed out a ton just through that process right away.
Yeah, Byron Gunter had one of his applicant emails in, and I didn't get it at first. And he posted it on his Facebook page and said, "This guy will never work for me." And because he either accidentally typed Bryon instead of Byron, he typed it as Brian, spelled kind of different. But I don't know. I would look the other way on that one personally. So,
Well, I had one where I actually went in for an interview, and the owner's, the president's name was Dominique.
okay.
And so I said, "Hey, I'm here to see Dominique. Is she available to meet with me?" And the person goes, "Well, he is actually in a meeting right now, and he'll be right with you." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just like totally could have screwed myself by that one little line."
Did you get the job?
I did. I did get
Okay.
the job. So it didn't. But if it was him that was actually, probing that right then and there, I may have not gotten the job. But
Sure.
but it was just a reminder of like, oh my gosh, remember who you're talking to and make sure you ask the right questions and don't assume anything,
Right.
So luckily he didn't make an example out of me.
Gotcha.
So,
Very good.
So is the summer for you a hiring time for you? What's your summers like? Are you guys busy with?
I'm busy. Yeah. Summer for us is a very, very busy time. We go pretty much from May to probably from Mother's Day to Halloween is our season.
Okay. Got it.
So,
and those are all weddings primarily?
yeah, like prom season's at the end of May, beginning of June. May and October, when I owned my other company, was our crazy 2 months.
Right.
Because everything hit. We had bar mitzvahs, weddings, and school dances. And it was just Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And in the 90s, where I was really hitting it hard, we were doing company picnics every weekend. And
Wow.
what I mean, we had like 6 guys out on a company picnic. Like we had guys in every single different direction. So we owned our own generators, and I mean, we literally went out there turnkey, boom, 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 done.
Are those still in vogue? People still doing those?
They're in vogue. The DJ part of it's not, and I don't blame them. I mean, we were playing background music, and we were very radio DJ-ish and having fun with people. But, it's just, truthfully, I think having a DJ is a luxury. And if I'm a HR director and I'm on limited resources, I'm going to put the money toward a boom balancer, a dunk tank, or something that the kids will enjoy more. Mm-hmm. Or the president will see immediate gratification from a bounce house with kids in it, as opposed to a DJ just playing great tunes in the background.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
So that business is pretty much gone away, and so you're
pretty much, unless I decided to go into like the corporate Olympic business.
Right.
But that's not my thing.
No. Speaking of your thing, marquee show's right around the corner.
It is.
What next? It's 2 weeks.
It's a week from Monday. So we got a week and a half. Okay. So yeah, not even quite a week and a half. So yeah, we're like 10 days out. And
how's the weather looking?
What's that?
How's the weather looking?
I haven't even looked. That's the least of my worries right now. I mean, Chicago in general in July is it's a great month. The summer in Chicago is a fantastic time of year. It's no different than the summer in New York. Same kind of weather. Mm-hmm. It's just a beautiful time of year. Lots of stuff going on. I love this. I love the city no matter what, but I especially love it in the summer. There's so much to do and just so much going on all the time, even if it's just sitting out at a beer garden and hanging with friends and just sitting under the cafe lights.
Right. Well, since a lot of people may be gone for the holiday on July 5th, well, I think is the 5th. The
4th is Wednesday.
All right. So
the 5th will be back.
In case people aren't tuning in because they're still recovering from their July 4th. I mean,
at 8:00 at night, that had to be one hell of a 4th of July party.
Oh man. Well, from the airport to the hotel, is there a shuttle service?
Free shuttle bus. The hotel picks up and drops off every 15 minutes. Beautiful coach bus. Don't get an Uber. It'll actually probably take you longer to walk to the Uber area and then wait for the Uber to come grab you. You're better off. You literally essentially are going to go underneath the parking lot and come out right at the bus center, and it's right there. And it might be a 6-minute ride. I mean, we're that close to the hotel.
Right. And
the hotel's absolutely beautiful. So Howard Wallach and Scott Favor have already started taking on the honors of they're planning an informal kind of I think they call it the unofficial welcoming party at Bub City, which is right down the street. So you can pile into Howard's car and pretend you're in college, see how many people you can fit into it. But it's a nice place. It's got barbecue, live entertainment, so it's a. But
there's no official activities on Sunday night.
Not on Sunday, no. My intention was to really concentrate on making sure that we're ready for Monday morning, so when doors open, we can hit it hard and we're good to go. And
so what time do the doors open on Monday? What's the first thing?
Well, Scott Favor is going to be kicking things off at 7 a.m. for people who want to come join him. Okay. So you got breakfast with the game master at 7 o'clock in the morning until 9:20, and then 9:30 or 9 o'clock. I got to look at it. It's on the agenda. Okay. I'm doing a real short, quick. How you doing, everybody? Thanks for coming. Make it an amazing week, shake some hands with someone you've never met before.
Right.
And then we start off with Michael Cerbelli right at, I think, 9:30. So,
fantastic.
Yeah. So, and I know you've never seen him speak, have you?
I've only seen him on video. So, no,
okay.
But I've met him a few times. He probably doesn't remember me, but I've met his hand a few different times.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to he's probably one of the bigger guys that I'm looking forward to hearing speak, as haven't seen him do a seminar yet. So
yeah, he's really dynamic, and he's got some great stuff. So, Monday's rock solid. So anybody even watching this that's not in the DJ business, if you're in the special event industry and you're within driving distance of Chicago or you live there, you're crazy not to come out for the day.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got so many great people, including my co-host here, Mr. Brian Bonacisi, is going to be speaking on the luxury market.
I'm excited. That's going to be good. Got some funny videos, some good stuff in the works, so this is going to be good. And then Monday night, what's happening Monday night?
Monday night, we've got a party, the last of which I'm just waiting on the nightclub to get back to me to tweak it and get that locked down, and we're good to go Monday night. Tuesday night, I've got nothing, so people can go enjoy the city, go get deep dish pizza, or go be a tourist, or just kind of chill with some friends at dinner, whatever you want to do. And then Wednesday night, we've got a closing night beach party at awesome. Like a fun little beach thing. So it'll be cool. Wednesday night will be like a chill night and go from there. And then people are flying out Thursday, or Randy Bartlett's seminar on Thursday. His workshop's completely sold out. So
doesn't surprise
we've got a dozen people staying for that.
Wow. Okay. Any last minute things that people should be thinking about as they're making their way to Marquee?
Well, it's not so much the people that are making it. They've already made the commitment, and it's the ones that don't. And this is what I've had this conversation like 3 different times this week with people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you go to my show. I mean, I'd like you to. My checkbook would like you to. But here's the reality. And a lot of people will argue that they can get education on Facebook groups, and they can get education on YouTube, and they can get education on podcasts, and even watching us. We try to be as educational and a little entertaining as well. But here's the reality. You're not going to lock yourself into 3 days of focusing on your business like you would if you go to a conference, whether that's the special event show, whether that's Marquee, whether that's DJ Times, whether that's Mobile Beat. When you're there, yes, part of it is social, but you are really in a focused state of mind where your goal is to learn as much as possible, to accomplish, meet some people that can help you with different things, attend certain seminars that you think are going to help you grow your business. And the reality is you're never going to go to a hotel and lock yourself into a room and sit and watch, 3 days worth of YouTube videos, or watch every Randy Bartlett DVD and every Mike Walter DVD and every Joe Budden DVD and everything. You're just not going to do it. It's the same reason people get personal trainers. It's not rocket science to figure it out. It's just when you make that commitment, you're committing to it in a different way. That's all.
And I think along those same lines, when you put your money into something like this, you're gonna want to get the most out of it. So,
absolutely.
I think there's something about putting your money towards something like this, where that's where it's education, that's not free education. I mean, I think you're just going to want to soak as much of it in, rather than if you just saw something free and, you know, it may sink and it may not. But these kinds of things tend to be more focused, laser focused, in trying to get as much out of it as you possibly can.
Right. So
right on.
Yeah. Well, so you can still get tickets at marqueeshow.com. So please join us. We have people coming from all over God's green earth, which is pretty exciting, from California to New York. Our boy Brian and a lot of the guys from upstate are coming. Joe Bunn's coming from the south. J.R. Silva's flying in from Orlando. We've got people coming from Arizona. We've got people coming down from Canada. We got people coming from all over. So I was excited. Bill Herman's going to join us. I saw that he just bought a ticket. Yeah, so I was excited to see his name come through. So he's going to be driving down from Minnesota. So especially if you're in the Midwest, you know, make the time. And if you are local, and let's say times are tough, budget's tight, whatever it is, you can get our exhibits only pass at no charge. So you can come out, check out the vendors. You know, you can talk to Brian about Vibo and everything else. So that's Absolutely. It. That's all I got.
Well, man, if I don't talk to you before, then have a great 4th, everybody, as well. And we'll see you on the 5th. We got one more show to go before we'll be in Chicago.
Right. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Good night, and God bless.